Well, welcome back to Dakota News Now. It's time for another edition of Wild Wednesday, where we learn about an animal from the Great Plains Zoo.
Yeah, today education specialist Katie Carchady back in. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
And you brought in Buddy, the Russian tortoise.
Yes.
So tell us about the Russian.
So Russian tortoises are found all over Central Asia, China and the Middle East, mostly in those drier grasslands. He is a ground animal, as most tortoises are, but he also goes underground a little bit. Throughout most of the seasons, he'll burrow, but in the winter, he also digs underground to hibernate as well.
And you were talking about that impacts the shape of his shell as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So most tortoises are going to have a taller shaped shell. We see that with big Galapagos tortoises and things like that. But when tortoises are burrowing, they're going to have the flatter shell just to make their lives easier.
So he's getting close to digging in and coming
He
back
would,
in the spring.
Yeah. Luckily at the zoo we get to use our turtles and tortoises all year since we provide them with heat and warmth all year.
Okay.
They do slow down a little bit because they can sense the light cycles as well. So he might take a little bit of a breather during the winter.
And what is Buddy's job at the zoo?
He's one of our ambassadors, so he goes on zoo mobiles, he lives in our classroom, so we have zoo cubs classes and bookworms going on, and he gets to go to all of those. Yesterday we went to an assisted living facility and impressed all of our senior citizens with his cool shell and behaviors.
How usually they get tortoises, they get really big and they live very old, but is Buddy
Absolutely.
Russian tortoise?
So he is full grown. They can be a little bit bigger than this. He's a pretty average size, and they can be into their 60s as well. So they are a quite long-lived species. So sometimes
How old is Buddy?
He's in about 13, 14. It is hard to tell. We don't always know when our animals are born.
And you have a super fun fact about the Russian
Yes,
tortoise?
this is my favorite tortoise fact, or Russian tortoise fact. So in 1968, 2 Russian tortoises were sent into a spaceship. They went around the moon and came back, and so they were the first animal to go up and around the moon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Buddy didn't get to go there.
Buddy did not. He's a little bit too young for that, but it is a pretty cool fact. And it makes sense because they hibernate, so that time without food and water, going into space makes sense.
If people out there watching, maybe you're a teacher or you want your class to come, how do they reach out to you?
Absolutely. So on our website, we have a Zoomobile form that you can fill out, and we go to schools all throughout the year. Now is a pretty good time as well because you need those indoor activities, and we'll go all through the winter as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Katie.
Yeah, no problem.
Buddy, thank you, the Russian tortoise,
Absolutely.
for coming in this morning.
Yeah, he woke up pretty early for us today.
Yes. All right, well, stick with us because FastCast is up next.